Welcome to Sociology Vibes, where we simplify challenging ideas into easy to understand insights. Stick around to see the world and your life in a different way. Today, our focus is on the labeling theory of deviance. Howard Becker, an American sociologist, was the first to introduce the labeling theory, and he wrote, and this is a quote, "Deviance is not the quality of the act the person commits, but rather a consequence of the application by others of rules or sanctions to an offender. The deviant is one to whom that label has been successfully applied. Deviant behavior is behavior that people so label." And this is the end of Becker's quote. Now, Becker emphasized 2 points. First, deviance is a social construction and relative. And this means that what is considered deviant, it's not the act or the behavior itself, but it's based on society's reaction to that act. Second, when people are continuously labeled as deviant, the label will eventually stick and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When someone does something others see as wrong, they can be labeled deviant or criminal. And this label over time influences how the deviant sees themselves and how others treat them. The self-fulfilling prophecy is another way of saying that people become the label placed on them. Think of me as a criminal, and I will fulfill this prophecy by becoming one. Edwin Lemert, an American sociologist, he expanded on the labeling theory by attaching 2 concepts, that of primary deviance and secondary deviance. So primary deviance occurs when a person violates a norm or commits a criminal act, and it does not result in the individual being labeled as a deviant, nor does it impact how the person perceives themselves. For example, the infraction is minor or it goes unnoticed by others. Secondary deviance, on the other hand, follows primary deviance when a deviant or criminal act gets noticed and the person is now stigmatized. Stigma is a powerful negative label that marks people as different or inferior and leads to exclusion and discrimination. And the individual internalizes the stigma and they begin to identify with the label and eventually accept it as who they are. It becomes part of their master status or the way that they mainly see themselves as being. For example, a person might refer to themselves as a drug dealer or as a prostitute or as a criminal. Once this occurs, a person behaves in a manner that would be expected of that label. In 1973, William Chambliss, also an American sociologist, conducted what is now considered a classic study. And he titled the study "The Saints and the Roughnecks." The study, back in the early 70s, followed 2 groups of high school boys who engaged in similar types of delinquent behaviors. The Roughnecks were working-class boys who were labeled as troublemakers and punished, while the Saints, who engaged in the same type of delinquent behaviors, with the only difference being their middle-class backgrounds, were viewed as good boys and received lenient treatment from authority figures. Chambliss found that societal perceptions and stereotypes about social class influenced labels and interpretation of the 2 groups' behaviors and had long-term consequences and outcomes for all of the boys' lives. Most of the saints went to college and enjoyed success, while many of the Roughnecks struggled. They faced both legal troubles and limited opportunities. Sociologists believe that it is not only social class, but other social factors such as race and ethnicity, gender, and age that influence labels and treatment. When a person is labeled a criminal, they will most likely face difficulties finding a job or fitting back into society. And this can lead to a cycle and a life of crime. While children and adolescents first come into contact with the juvenile delinquency system, many of them come through their schools as a result of their behaviors being labeled as delinquent. Once in the juvenile delinquency system, it can be difficult to exit as minors come to identify with the labels placed on them by their teachers, social workers, judges, police officers, and others. Similarly to the study by Chambliss, race and social class disparities are common in the juvenile delinquency system. Labeling theory can also be applied to non-criminal or delinquent labeled acts, or deviant labeled acts. For example, in the workplace, if someone makes a mistake and is labeled as incompetent, this label can affect their confidence and performance. They might start to believe they are truly incompetent and make more mistakes as a result. Within a family, parents can label a child as the lazy one, the troublemaker, the naughty one, or the odd one. And within one's peers, a child can experience bullying and scapegoating. Once these labels stick, they influence how children are treated, and eventually the child is at risk of coming to identify with that label. Labeling neighbors as bad, dangerous, scary affects how people living there in those particular neighborhoods are treated and how they see themselves. Understanding labeling theory helps us see that deviance isn't just about individual or group actions, but more about societal reactions. Labels can have a powerful impact on a person's identity and behavior. And knowing this, we can be mindful of stereotypes and negative labels we attribute to others' actions. We can practice compassion toward others and help create environments that support positive growth. And this makes sociology worth exploring further, don't you think? Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, give a like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next Sociology Vibes video.